I'm wondering also, like, the Grimstroke. Sure, it's not a hero that's maybe not the most popular, but I already see 2 Soulbind heroes that don't like to play versus it at all. Like, if things get to that point, right? Weaver, he's also decent with Inkswell. Sets them up for their carry if they want to go down that route, too. But they're just going to stick with Shaman. They're going to go for their push.
Yeah. And so does this mean Weaver 5, Shaman 4? Is that what I'm seeing now?
Yep. Akoda didn't play the Weaver at all through the Winter Tour. I know he didn't have many games though, so I guess that's one thing to mention, but we have seen Yamich. He was the only one playing the Shadow Shaman yesterday. So they don't have the Bane now to answer this. Like, I think you have to go for defensive support because VP are very single target. Bane's banned out, so the other question's if you want to go Shadow Demon, but that's, you can't pair the Shadow Demon with a Mars, which is probably one of the better side lanes. So I don't really know if there's like another 5 or even saving 4 that you can consider here.
I think you also have to start considering it's D-push, right? Like, Queen isn't really D-push. You can't just walk up and scream. I think you're going to have to start setting yourself up just in case to stop this huge push that's coming. Like, Beast Shadow Shaman, they pick one more like a Lesh or a Pugna. If you don't have ways to stop this siege, you're going to lose your entire side of the map before PA is ready. So I think they have to start looking at something that can just clear the creep waves off the towers, because, yeah.
Do you prioritize that D-push over a potential save here against the Shaman?
I think I'm trying to think of any options that are multiple. I know, like, we saw Jakiro yesterday, but it wasn't very good, but that's also decent, because it's, you know, it's not like the save, but it's to stop the grip, and then it's also D-push. Yeah, and it's control versus Weaver, it's good versus the summons, so I'm thinking maybe they go something like that. Okay.
Oh!
That's new.
Okay. Thoughts on
they go not that route at all, like not the route at all of D-push. I guess.
Well, CM does.
CM
has it, but it's interesting.
CM
so that's
CM.
It's CM is CM's, but it's now they double down versus the Beastmaster, so they're wanting to fully shut down this beast, is what that tells me.
Do you feel like CM though can deal with if they're pushing towers? Like, I guess the lane CM's very good versus the Beastmaster summons, but say like 15 minutes in, she's squishy as hell. She's just gonna get run down. That's where I'm concerned.
I'm concerned because of the duo, I'll be honest. The CM and the Nyx. Like, CM, if he has a secondary support that can spam and stuff like that, and that's good versus push, sure. But Nyx was actually one of the picks that I think people abused the most when we saw it, I want to say at the Animajor. Nyx was getting really popular, people were opening with it, and then it would just be, bam, DK. And they would group and push, and Nyx Assassin's sitting there like, I need my Ags. Like, well, we lost the game before I can get Ags, so like, I can't fight versus these heavy push lineups. So, I don't know, this Nyx pick is pretty interesting, but it tells me that HellRaisers has gone a different route of looking for this like pick off and trying to break the push before it's set up from VP. But that looks like it could be pretty hard.
And they're requiring an offlaner now for them. Is there can they go for a very defensive offlaner here that allows them to have the deep push that they're needing, like a Sanking or Tide? Does that fit their lineup?
I want them to have at least one type of big team fighter. Right now they've got like nothing. It's Quap.
Yep.
It's Queen of Pain and by herself. This is this enormous team fight that also has crazy push as well. Gotta be honest, I'm a little concerned for HellRaisers at the moment. Even though they impressed so much yesterday.
I think it's very difficult to go for like a Tide here though, because they didn't ban Ursa, you didn't ban Monkey, so now you you don't see Pure's hero, so you have a free matchup for Pure if it's into some very, very immobile position 3. So like, I don't know if Legion fills that role of like deep pushing. Odds is not really, but of course the defensive factor with press the attack's okay, but again, like you said, how do you team fight with this at the moment? It feels like HellRaisers need a lot, and that's a scary thing to be in.
Okay, that's one that brings things together, and then it's you battle around the towers instead of looking to like deep push. You look to just like bring the Darkseer and you fight around this like vacuum thing. But that also is that takes a little bit of time too.
How do you punish this in the lane stage areas? What are you thinking about for Pure?
Well, look at their bans. They protected it. They Faceless Void, Oracle banned out just in case they flex the Weaver. So they 100% knew this was coming. They were thinking about it. I'm just trying to see now. You can't AM because the PA matchup. Man. What are some of the other top ones? I guess range is always decent, or some sustain.
Oh, that's actually really good here.
That's an old school VP. They used to love this pick.
Yeah. That Bloodseeker versus both Quap and PA matchup is really good. So you actually have really good core-to-core matchups here in general.
I gotta be.
Actually love this pick.
I actually really like VP's draft. I think it's gonna be quite a tough hill to climb for HellRaisers if they can stop the siege, stop the push. They delay the game a long time, and this Darkseer and PA is able to start fighting back. Maybe they have a chance, but I think VP is gonna set some crazy tempo at this draft.
Aries?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I don't know. This looks scary. I think the Darkseer pick makes me a little bit more confident, but still felt like they were needing a lot out of this 23rd pick for Limitless. Is it enough? I mean, you've got a good lane matchup, I guess, with Gilga, at least a position 4. Sorry, a melee position 4. You've got a melee 1 as well. So Darkseer as the game goes on. You've got some nice Shell and Surge targets, but VP, they got the draft very similar to yesterday, and I don't know if HellRaisers have done enough to prevent the style we saw them absolutely run PogChamp over with.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like the PA CM's able to shut down the beast enough, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing I look at. If DM just has absolutely no game and they can't group around him, and this PA gets an early fury somehow, maybe that's the ticket. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Our panel has spoken, and VP is looking good for this game number 1. Usually I, as the host, would never give my opinion, but wherever Bloodseeker goes, I follow. That's a fantastic Bloodseeker pick, so, you know, it's a 3-way for VP this time round. But what will happen? Will HellRaisers show the skill demonstrated against Team Spirit and win game number 1? We're going to have to see as we go over to our casters, Aries and Fogged.
Thank you, Arvo. I mean, with 3 people choosing VP, Fog, this is the caster's curse, isn't it? Like that's what happens, right? I mean, it's now HellRaisers, I think 100% guaranteed to win. There should be no doubt.
Right, especially after us like yesterday, you know, not being as hype as we should have been for HellRaisers after they had a very solid 3 games in 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. It's really going to be, can they withstand the storm? And I'm really going to watch DM majority of this laning phase, because I think this is really hard. Like, playing versus PA alone is really difficult. Throw a CM on top. Let's see if he even skills the boars. I saw yesterday when, I mean, we see it a lot, of course, but, like, when you're in such a bad matchup, maybe he just goes the 4 points in axes, maybe 1 point in boar later. We'll see. See what adjustment it is.
I've seen like Beastmasters recently just go like 1 point axes if it is a bad lane. I haven't seen anything more than that. It just seems like still if afterwards, like maybe if you were lucky and had the Crystal Maiden, if with the Menace Sustain you might be able to, but I'm in agreement. I think that lane is going to be really difficult, and I thought maybe having like a strong support could offset that, but it feels like Crystal Maiden's actually going to match up really well into the Weaver as well. He does go axes too, so.
Yeah, I think you just straight up have to. They get the grab.
Okay. A little bit of damage onto Watson to start. Really doesn't want to level that Phantom Strike, but he will be forced to now. So that's the little damage coming through from Makoto, and Yamich actually going to continue the hunt. Watson now has the Duke and Jive, but with the Makoto following up as well. He's got the boots on the Shaman, so I will be able to close the distance shortly, and there's nothing really Melody can do. The creeps have already passed. There's no target to jump to, and already the start for Virtus.pro kicking off strong.
I was about to say too, like they better persist and go for that kill, because Shaman went Shackles. Like if you go Shackles, you have to get the kill in the lane. So good for him that he did get it.
So we're putting a lot of emphasis on this Phantom Assassin Crystal Maiden lane being strong, at least for HellRaisers. What about some of the other lane matchups? I guess mid lane for Virtus.pro and HellRaisers. Do you feel like Rabel Invoker is going to have a decent time?
I think he'll have a decent time, but Invoker is one of those heroes that does really well versus the bulliers, I call them. You know, your Queen of Pain, your Linas that just harass you up. You just quass up, you know. You just quass, you regen, you sustain through it. You might miss some last hits, some denies and stuff like that, but, you know, you're going to be fine. You're not spending any money on regen, really.
It's that big factor. And, you know, like you said as well, with the chains early level from Shaman, I mean, his, I guess, bully potential down bot is kind of limited, but we already see the shenanigans coming out. And this is quite often what we do see from the Darkseers, though, early levels where you just start to pull the lane back and play away from the opposition's carry.
Yep. Top just continuing the axes, the constant harassment. Yamich has to be careful. Actually, very weird. My game, I can't actually see any of VP's heroes. They're invisible on my screen. Super weird bug I've never had before. Bottom.
I don't know about that bug. What do they catch out? Darkseer 2, but of course lacking the mana. So this is... have you been seeing many Darkseer builds in Eastern Europe? They're going crazy builds that I'm not seeing anywhere else.
I've been seeing... I think people are just... Maybe the patch has gone on a little too long and people are losing it, because I've seen from Orchid rushes to Blink rushes to Daggons to Quad Null I've seen everything now, honestly. Like soul rings, bottles. So I can never really predict what these guys are going to go in a lot of games. This one might be a Crimson Guard or something because he sees like all this like heavy push, but I have no idea because I don't think that's a very valuable item in most games.
I think it was XXS earlier today. I'm almost certain, or maybe yesterday, but anyway, Darkseid over in China, he went Octarine first item. That's the first time I've seen that. Yeah, they fucked. This is where you're supposed to come into play. You're supposed to give me the reason why someone would go Octarine first on a Darkseid.
That is, yeah, I don't know, honestly. I mean, caster range, you can't get, I don't know. Why would you not go Ags first? I would never not go Ags first. Oh well.
I don't know. That's, yeah, like you said, there's been crazy builds, and already the Vanguard queued up, so if he does look to go into the Orchid, the Crimson, but what I have been seeing, I think it was Blizzy that I saw it a decent amount. Yeah, it was just this Vanguard into Orchid. Very interesting build, because still in like Southeast Asia, it's a lot of the Aghanims, or just a lot of the utility out of the mech.
I don't really like the Orchid build if he does go for in this game. Because I want him, you know, they have to like group up and stuff and be able to fight versus this VP push that's kind of going. I feel like if he's playing for his like Orchid, he's playing his own game rather than the team game, which I think they really need. They're going to need him to come in and help out because this push, it's going to come, and it can't just be Queen of Pain to fight back versus it. Like, it's got to be the Darks you're showing up. So we'll see if he does go that route.
Well, the moment top lane, how they're going to the moment for the Beastmaster. 14-9. I imagine a lot of the denies is his boars. And it does look like HellRaisers are now going to at least get control of the Sentry battle, which is, of course, probably the most important thing when you're against the Weaver. But Yamich is already level 3 as well, so the lane's going to get a little bit more difficult.
I'm going to try really quickly reconnecting. I can't see sentries. I can't see heroes on any on VP side of the map. It's the weirdest thing.
I see Melody going down. It's alright. Ain't missing too much. Watson... I get a return kill, still got to be a little bit cautious here. DM, he did go for that 1 point in the axes early, but back into the level 2 in the boars now.
Okay.
I'm a bit surprised, though, with how strong his lane is going. I mean, we were both anticipating this to be a weaker matchup, but the fact that he's equal in last hits with Watson is concerning.
It's huge. Yeah, I think it might just be a little bit of his experience factor coming into play. Just he knew exactly how to play the matchup, so that's huge. So this, I think, is... I mean, this is playing into VP's hands, right? This is... I think the only way that I actually see HellRaisers slowing down this big push is if they'd shut down DM, and they haven't right now. So, you know, right now, you know, it's still early, but I think the ball is going to start rolling the next, like, 8 minutes or so very quickly.
Bottom lane. Another big one. Shackle's trying to set up for the Blood Right. With the Nyx Assassin nearby to cancel that one. I guess a nice thing of having a Queen of Pain in the mid lane, of course, Rabel could consider these early rotations just to help out what the Watson carry top lane, whereas GPK's... Corp's going to be a little bit more mobile just because of the build Rabel's going for, like the no points in the dagger, whereas GPK early Wex is not as much movement speed.
Yeah. The thing is, GPK is actually winning the matchup mid pretty handedly. I didn't think I'd see that happen.
And this is another thing, Witchblade. I've seen it a couple times with the Invokers in East Go. So...
It's this, I mean, he's versus PA, right? So it makes more sense to go for it. He gets a little bit of armor, gets that true strike when he starts making his moves around. It's strong, lets you scale. Lets you scale as like a right clicker if game gets to that point. You have Beastmaster, you have Weaver, so... Definitely makes sense if he doesn't want to go for that and commit for it. But yeah, right now, I think the most important thing is VP have gotten away with their lanes completely. Like, HellRaisers, they're not, like, shut down totally, but from what we said from, like, the narrative of this game, this isn't... They needed to shut down this beast more. I think DM has gotten too much in these first 5.5 minutes. I think this Dominator timing is going to be super quick, and then they're going to look to start playing around him. And... they're going to have to move the supports ASAP. The two HellRaiser supports are going to have to play in unison in order to stop these towers from going down. And Rebel's going to have to be very active because they got to make that space. Watson does not want to turn up to look at these towers. Once the push starts coming, of course, in the 2 minutes or probably 2-3 minutes or so.
And I feel like it is going to be difficult to move the Nyx Assassin though, because if you leave Limitless bot, I mean, a Coda's just going to drop a Shackles with... Pure stepping in as well with the silence, and I mean all of a sudden your escape route is just heavily taken out of a factor here, and maybe you don't get the kill, but you take him down to a third health, and all of a sudden what can Limitless do? Like maybe he goes back farm the jungle, but you can't really do any stacks. So it's really awkward. I mean, this is the thing. We saw the Nyx and the Crystal Maiden. Maybe it's going to reveal itself as the game goes on, kind of the reasoning behind it, but it feels like early we're not seeing it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just like they're like the Nyx. I think is because they see like the Weaver. They have these like catch offs and everything. Gilgir does love his Nyx assassin too, but yeah, playing it into the push strategy is always bold.
It's a bold task indeed for Gilgir. But I mean, we were speaking a lot about the Phantom Assassin with kind of being the X factor, shutting down DM in that top lane. But do you feel like Limitless, like if he gets a really good game onto the Darks here, could this kind of turn it around? Like if we see him somehow get ridiculously farmed?
I just don't. The thing is that he's into such a hard lane, right? Like I think this Bloodseeker is one of the better melee carries in the game versus Darkseer throughout all stages. The Bloodright is super annoying. Laning phase, you can't harass him because he's full HP. Shaman is just a very good combo with it because he's just got the control for that Bloodseeker. So I'd be surprised if I see this Darkseer get too big because how hard this lane's already turned out.
I truly wonder if top lane would have gone a little bit better if DM didn't have 14 denies. I just keep seeing deny the balls over and over again. Like Melody's, chucking out the Frostbite. Watson's trying to last hit it with the dagger, but I mean, DM's just always getting that deny, and it's a lot of experience in gold throughout the river. Been able to pick up the haste. Level 6s on Rabel and GPK. It's going to be a little bit more of an advantage to Rabel. He's able to blink out to the eastern side and still get an angle to drop the ultimate. So HellRaisers find their first kill of the game. Rabel's going to attempt to deny. Unfortunately, GPK, he's going to have the damage to go through the neutrals.
Good old Bloodseeker. That vision just gets a little extra hit up the high ground. And that's Quapult used. So that's 100 seconds now where they don't really have to worry too much about a rotation just to kill a Shadow Shaman.
Gilgir as well. Chuck. Be nuisance, get the MP. I guess Quap coming back as refill some of the mana. But yeah, 100%. Like you said, I mean, we were anticipating the factor of the Queen of Pain to help out some of the side lanes. Shamich is taking a decent amount of damage, but that just gives time to DM to just beat down on Melody. So we're seeing across the map as well. Even Pure down bottom is picking up a kill on Limitless. And I mean, that was also the... he did use the Rupture for that kill. So the first one of the game.
The pressure is ramping up though already. It's 7 minutes over 2k lead. And now Dominator is done in 50 gold. So top tower, Catapult's already starting to hit it. They're pressuring Watson. They're going to have to start making moves to help him.
You got a TP more and it feels like...
Co-op TP'd mid though. So she doesn't have one available. Darkseer also just TP'd bottom, so they know very likely that this PA is stuck up here alone.
And this is something that we did mention in the draft though, like if DM gets away with the lane, you match up really well versus the Phantom Assassin in regards to not having a cooldown and being able to just have this tempo controlling aspect. And PA does not farm the jungle fast at all, as Melody and Weaver both battling under the tower. I'm just like, come back here, buddy. I'm trying to get this kill before I go down. Melody at least able to get out to the outskirts, and bottom the action continues as Pure getting this bonus movement speed. Already the Bloodseeker diving so deep under the tower. Gets the last swipe on the Nyx. He's going to TP out as well to success. Akoda might not be as fortunate. A little bit difficult for Rabel to chase though without any points in the dagger, so they're going to back off.
Alright. Made Rebel move around the map again. He does have a regen rune, so we'll be able to make his move anyway again up top. And they did get the Catapult cleared out. Malady will go down. Tries a high five, but no time. Dominator done. Top tower. Let's see. Let's see what HR does in response. Like we said, Rebel, he doesn't have a TP, but he's got a full regen, has Sonic Wave. Does he want to try to hold that top tower, or does he want to look to make his own move?
Oh, I'm trying to see if this Vanguard Darkseer can actually put himself in the front line.
Ooh.
Let's have it completed. Only level 6. Nice TP out from Akoda.
The thing about so he's got Vanguard, so he's a little tanky versus this, versus some of the physical damage, but there's bugs. I always, whenever I see like Weaver, well, I meant whenever I see Weaver, I'm like, oh god, but the bugs versus Vanguard, like the bugs are just gonna make that Vanguard way less efficient because of how much extra physical damage he takes. Bugs and Inner Beast. And top tower's dead.
And they've got Catapult up in about 30 seconds, so we honestly might just see DM look to connect mid. feels like Dire, I mean, they're going to have to ward so defensively just to secure the jungle and bottom lane. GPK is going to TP down as well. Limitless drops the wall to no avail. Pure's just going to be able to farm up onto the Illusion Crypts. +5 gold. Thank you very much, sir. Now Koda's eyeing up Rabel, but there will be no follow-up there. So, I mean, already a 3,000 net worth lead, and this has to be so scary considering this is what we saw Virtus.pro do against PuckChamp, and they absolutely demolished them in both Game 1 and Game 2 yesterday.
Yeah, and how do they stop the mid push? They don't have the deep push at all, really. DM gets the stomp, another free kill on Malady, and another tower that's just gonna die. This game it's spiraling completely out of control already.
And, I mean, Darkseid just had to cancel his TP, so he's trying to surge out the base, but yeah, this tower's gonna fall by the time it connects, and Akoda once again finds another hero in the backline. This is just a measly Nyx assassin 10 minutes in that's only level 4. The question has to be asked now did they just not respect the winning lineups from Virtus.pro yesterday?
I have to be honest, like the CM Nyx for me it really confused me. It really caught me off guard because they picked the Nyx into the beast into this heavy push. Maybe they really thought that they were gonna have DM totally shut down because the PA CM lane, but that just didn't happen. This game is looking like, I hate to say it, like 11 minutes, like impossible, but it's really starting to get close to that point because their map is completely taken over by Vision. And the continuance of VP's pressure is just going to be there. So, HR, they have to just make some type of big 4-man move. Like, they have to just play all mid. Like, Darkseid has to have a TP available, and the rest of them have to just play as a unit, ready for these pushes. Which is not ideal.
They are going to run into a Akoda. Here's this level 6 from Gilgar. At least the Shaman's able to drop the Serpent Wards, and they'll still trade the life for the Queen of Pain as well. Very nicely done from the Shadow Shaman to at least get a trade out of that. And I mean, you're more than happy with getting the position too, and maybe more blood on your hands as well. So going to try and drop the Roar under the tier 2 tower, but with the follow-up burst potential from GPK's Meteor, that also gets rid of the Phantom Assassin, but they're not done just yet. Limitless, he's also trying to connect to the lane, but they've dropped the Rupture out. Pure is showing up as well. 14 kills, not even 12 minutes in.
Wow. Just dismantling, really. Rebel jumps in, just gets grabbed immediately from Shaman. No hesitation from him. He just drops the wards. Doesn't care to use them from push because they have so much push in their lineup. Uses it for the fight. 5k plus advantage, continuing to put pressure on. Let's see. Oh, this time maybe. GPK,
yeah,
did he overstep?
Oh, that tornado timing. As soon as Watson jumps in, Rabel's got the ultimate, but I think GPK's healthy enough. Melody just too slow. Nerf the Crystal Maiden movement speed.
Oh, he missed it. With full vision. He wasn't dying anyway. It was only level 2. But yeah,
okay.
Just continued pressure. And so now I think the name of the game is control my ancients, right? I think for HR, it's control my ancients, somehow make sure that Watson's protected there, but I think you have to flick 4-man mid. It's awful to say it because your lanes are going to start becoming problems and you're going to get out-farmed, but the game is in such a disastrous state, you have to start doing some desperate stuff.
All right, I'm gonna jump on some copium right now just for a little bit. I gotta make sure no pickoff happens. So Dai do have very good fighting. Oh, Limitless just missed the vac. Oh no. Still has Gilgar at least to connect. So here we go, getting a kill. But the rest of Radiant now trying to connect as well to the team fight. They know the ward's been wasted. Melody more just a zoning freezing field as Ray was going to push back GPK, falling lower and lower in the river, but the Deafening Blast to give him that breathing room. And now with Pure and Akoda showing up, they're unable to get the kill into the Invoker. Now they're eyeing up Melody as well. The Crystal Maiden might run into the Sunstrike, not enough damage, but Gilgar's ruptured up as well. They might just be able to get both the supports here. It's Pure an easy chase down. Meanwhile, Gilgar still in trouble underneath the tier 2 tower. Rupture has expired, so that will give him enough time to make it away.
But a fight that they get smashed, they get no kill, Sonic Wave is used, and they're gonna have their tower getting beat down. Shaman has wards. Looks like he's looking to set them up top, but yeah, overwhelming pressure. Like HR, I think that they're probably saying themselves too, it's just like we have to fight back into this fight, but we're losing every fight, so it's just, it feels worse and worse as the game progresses. Might be not time to tap out by any means yet, because you have PA. You want to keep trying to play this game out, but I think you start getting your thoughts into the back of your head, maybe a tiny bit of just like this Shaman, this pressure lineup that if you weren't prepared for it after you saw VP do this yesterday, it's a concern for me. Gilgir.
Coda is getting stalked. He's actually just gonna turn. The man should be able to find an easy solo kill. Just gonna make sure he plays around the Serpent Ward still. So I guess, I mean, that's a small victory now that you don't have Serpent Ward to take an objective, but
It's true.
it looks like they're still getting a kill across the map as Limitless the target. I mean, she doesn't have any extra help at the moment. I mean, the Invoker's going to chuck out a straight tornado from afar, and that's actually enough to secure the kill. So Limitless goes down. They've also got the vision as well, so DM can cancel Melody's TP. More and more blood being spilt on the Dire's territory.
Maybe it is time to tap out.
I want to release the copium real quick. So I think you're playing off the back of VP making a mistake, diving too far.
Sure.
Do have decent team fight. Like, you got Vac into Impale, into Quap ulti, which is only level 1. Or you play off the back of Nyx setting up on the side lanes. You really need this tier 1 tower gone. So I think you don't defend tier 2 top. You look to trade bottom, open up the map a little bit, just give more room to Nyx and Quap to hunt. And try and just get kills. Like, that's the only angle I can really see in. Like, here you go. You kill a support. Yes, it's Sonic Wave, 1/22nd, but you control the triangle, and that's what you were asking them to do.
Yeah, I was kind of memeing about the full tap out. Because you have PA, you always play for later. But yeah, I think it's just, you play as a unit. You have to just play 4 or 5, as I've been saying. It's not the most efficient, but when you're this far behind and you have a PA, you still have somewhat of a win condition. You know, this hero can still, if somehow you can delay, can get online.
I think the scary thing is as well, Radiant, like, they haven't even considered Roche, and they can take it really, really goddamn fast. Like, here we go. I mean, they're scouting a Coda. Tries to get the Spike Carapace timing, but now this is given enough time for the boys on VP to be able to connect, so GPK and Yamich once again just getting rid of the Crystal Maiden. Melody is
Melody.
definitely having a tough
so
time.
sad.
8 deaths.
It just a cold snap plus the bugs, and he's just dead. You know.
And they're continuing to block the Ancients. It's multiple times in a row now.
They just have it's so much vision. Once you with Beastmaster lineups, it tends to happen, right? Like, you just have Hawks everywhere, you have wards all over, and with all these towers dead, yeah, you have full control. And that's before Helm of Overlord. That's the thing we do have to remember. DM doesn't even have it yet.
They are a bit split on Virtus.pro. The Militia showing the lane at the moment. GPK is going to move to the back line. So it's simultaneous initiation for the boys on Radiance. They'll cut away the life of the Nyx. Darkseer is going to drop as well. He will at least get the ultimate off before he dies, but it looks like that does nothing to enable a turnaround potential. As the rest of the HellRaisers are able, he actually jumps straight into a Coda with the blink on the Shaman. He's got the follow-up. Watson's in trouble now as well with a Rupture out. There's no escape. He's going to be forced to stand his ground and man fight, but with 5 down at the front of the Tier 2 tower, more objectives soon to be claimed.
They're trying to fight back. They're trying their damnedest, but they're too far behind. It's just, there's too much control rate that's coming out from the side of VP, and it's too easy for them to get these wraparounds because of the advantage they have, right? Like, that just came from all angles. There was like one person from the front, one from the left, one from the right. You just got full surrounded on HellRaisers. And your big team fighter, your Darkseer, got full controlled.
I don't want to get to the stage where, like, I'm calling it quits, but I just want to say, like, this gives VP a lot of confidence now to just first pick the Beastmaster in next game, because they had a way to answer it. Like, yes, that's a really good lane. We were all saying it. The Phantom Assassin Crystal Maiden should beat it, but now that VP of, like, okay, like, Deem has to be feeling so confident. He's like, I can play into this bad matchup. So maybe now this forces HellRaisers to ban the Beast and let something else through the pool, so then that can open up a second draft for VP. Like, if it goes that way as we're expecting this game, it just makes the rest of the series so difficult.
I agree. I think that, I mean, I don't want to, like, call things, like, so, like, without, because you never get to hear what the teams are thinking about, but I really think this CM Nyx was a big mistake. You know, I think Nyx Assassin into Beastmaster is always a mistake. Sure, Necrobook doesn't exist, etc., blah, 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 but it's the nature of what happens when you play with Beastmaster. It's this group up. Nyx Assassin likes to go for pickoffs around the map. This is just, sure, your Carapace is good versus, like, Weaver and versus Bloodright in some situations, but in the overall narrative of the game, you're not contributing a whole lot, because you're a Carapace in, like, 1 stun compared to 50 minions pushing down your buildings.
Aegis advantage on Virtus.pro. They might just lose the life of the Weaver before the fight breaks out. Somehow, he still gets a time-lapse off. I mean, that really is just the story of this game. If they lose all 5, they might just call it quits. Limitless is able to drop the vacuum, cliffing DM, but 4 have already been
GG.
melted, and they have had enough. A pre-20-minute GG out as Virtus.pro get a similar lineup to what they had in yesterday's series, and they just steamroll over HellRaisers.
Oh boy, now we're gonna have to ask, it's like, what does HR want to do, right? Like, do they just ban the Beastmaster? Or is it, they gotta find something else that's better? I think, I'm really gonna say, like, I don't know, Nyx, Crystal Maiden. CM overall as a hero is not something we see very often. I think this hero is just weak in a lot of aspects. I can see what they were going for because it gave them deep push. It fully shut down the Beastmaster with PA, but the CM and the Nyx, I think it just was a little bit of an oversight by them.
Yeah, I mean, now there's a huge advantage. Not that VP just have, of course, this game 1 victory, but I feel like the draft now looks much more open for them heading into the second game. You know, the question is, HellRaisers, you need to adapt. You just got ran over, almost a draft victory. What do you let through the pool? Do you get rid of the Beast? Do you still let VP to ban it and maybe have a strategy going into it? But questions, they will all be answered shortly when we send it to a break. And when we come back, Arvo will join us to break it down.